So we're getting to that point, Riley, where a lot of these top kids are finally, getting to that point where they're taking all these visits. There's a lot of, stories coming left and right about them. We do a lot of Tyron Stokes on this channel, but another player we talk about a lot on here is Cameron Williams, who, I didn't even notice this at the time, but shout out to Eric Bossy over at 24/7. Like this Cameron Williams was just like this unknown prospect who was like 6'6", 6'5" a couple years ago, and now he's the number 4 recruit in the country. 6'10", like prototypical, if you had the chance to build what a modern day like power forward look like, kinda, you would make Cameron Williams. He has all the length, athleticism, tools. He was one of the better shot blockers playing on the Adidas circuit with the Compton Magic.
Mhm.
And when his motor is full go, as our good friend Jamie Shaw likes to put it, he has an argument for being one of the best players in this class and one of the highest upside ceilings in this class, which has him, as one of the more highly sought after recruits. And hopefully he's getting close to be making a decision here. But before I talk about some of his schools, Riley, I want to throw it to you. And I know Cameron Williams is a guy that might be going to Duke, so you might be seeing him a good amount of time in the next coming years. But from what you've been able to see, what do you think about Cameron Williams' game?
Yeah, I thought he blossomed this summer on the Adidas circuit. And I think, watching his film when he first came on my radar, I thought, is this one of those types of dudes where you see the frame, like he's always been long and wiry. I think he has a plus 7 foot, maybe 7'1" wingspan. But you just wondered, is this one of those players who's just more prospect than he is production? Is he someone who's going to have the NBA scouts tantalized because of the size and the theoretical skill? But I thought on the 3SSB circuit, he put it all together. His touch around the basket's really impressive, really good in transition. You mentioned the rim protection. I didn't realize this, but our friend Adam Finkelstein and his scouting report, aka Adam Finkerbutt, said he averaged over 3 blocks per game on the circuit as well, close to 9 rebounds a game too. And I love seeing just that he can do other things on the court besides score. Because I think when you see his ability to get to his mid-range jumper, his projectable range, and like the aforementioned touch around the basket, all of that is super enticing for a player who is 6'10", 6'11". But when you factor in that he does have that motor, he does have the ability to make game-changing plays on the defensive side of the ball, and he'll get on the glass. I think it makes him an even more appealing prospect in what has been a largely maligned class. So yeah, I mean, if you're Duke or any of these other schools who are trying to get in after him, like why not swing for the fences with one of these? He's one of many guys who I would say is a little bit unknown how it translates just with some of the size concerns and this being a quote unquote weaker class. But yeah, I think he has as good of a bet as anyone in here to hit that high ceiling.
Yeah, 100%. And when I talk about Cameron Williams, the player, I've always wanted him to be in a certain mode where he's like full go all the time. Because I do think he can sometimes disappear at times. But I think, like I said, Jamie Shaw put it the best way. If he's playing at full speed, he's playing at full go. It's ridiculous how much talent this kid has, and the stats back it up. Everything he does backs it up. At this USA little mini camp that he went to, everyone who was in the gym watching him, it backed it up. He was one of the more impressive players there. And it's led to a very interesting, I think, list of schools for him. You got some blue bloods in there. You also have like the SMUs, the Texas, the USCs of the world. I do want to ask before I get to the quotes on these schools, though, from him directly, Riley. There was like a lot of Arizona smoke at first. Obviously, they have a real good connection to the Compton Magic program. He's a West
Mhm.
Coast kid. That was definitely something that was going to be put in there. But then, like Duke picked up a lot of momentum with them. I saw a lot of Duke men's basketball Twitter accounts saying that they were feeling good about Cam Williams. I believe he was at the Cameron, whatever, what do they call it? Cameron Crazy Madness, what do they
Countdown
call
to
it?
craziness.
Yeah, it's Countdown to Craziness, which, by the way, rename it for what it's worth. But one of the bigger events for that school, I guess I like to ask, given the list of schools, is there a school that you think fits his game the most? His like maybe a coaching staff or a system or just an overall school that would fit the best with him?
So it's interesting, like the Bossy update that he provided, where he's talking about the Arizona visit. I mean, it's hard to argue Arizona or Duke just because they can point to any number of prospects. With Tommy Lloyd, I've said this before, but I just trust him to get the most out of any player's ceiling on the offensive end of the court. I think he's had some skilled wings who, their bigs always like to pass as well, or I guess he's more of a forward than a big. But you can point to even someone like Dalen Terry. You can point to Azuolas Tubelis. Like, obviously, those aren't the NBA All Star types that Cameron Williams is probably looking at, but
Mhm.
he played a lot through those guys and let them handle and sort of showed off the full repertoire with their skills. With Duke, you just have any number of like big wings you can point to, whether it's Brandon Ingram, Jabari Parker, Cooper Flagg. Like, you can just go on down the line. Whichever you could close your eyes, spin a wheel, and make a pick for who you could comp to and say, hey, you could have this type of role. I would prefer for him to go to Duke, Carter. In fact, I would prefer for Duke to get both Cameron Williams and Jordan Smith, who we're going to talk about later. But I want Bryson Howard at UNC. I have said mine.
Fine.
And just know this, Bryson. Sorry, I don't mean to hijack the video, but they're prioritizing Cameron Williams. They're prioritizing Jordan Smith over you. So, Cameron Williams, you can go on over to Duke. You can go be a part of the Brotherhood. It's fine. Like, I am used to Duke getting highly sought after players. It's not going to hurt me. You'll probably develop there. You'll probably be a top 5 pick. You'll be happy. But yeah, out of all those schools, those are two that it's like, I think you could see the role. I think you could point to the archetype of players they had. I was kind of interested with SMU getting a little bit of love in this
I,
Vossi article.
I was gonna bring that up as well as the Texas thing. All right, let me get into these quotes because it's funny because you brought up like the players at Arizona, right? When he talked about Texas, he started mentioning Sean Miller and the players that he had at Arizona when he was
Yeah,
talking about the
right,
role he
right.
could play, which I thought was interesting. But looking at some of these quotes, talked about Arizona, said it was a great visit. The campus is great, the blue and white red scrimmage, and it's like an hour and a half away. I believe he's is an Arizona kid, so it'd be the
Hmm.
hometown school. Obviously, had the push there. Duke, he talked about their playing style, the 5-out system they play, and they have a versatile offense that fits him. Purdue, which is very interesting because Purdue, I feel like, was very much on the ground level with Cam Williams, and then the Blue Bloods got involved and things. I think they lost a little bit of steam. But before I move on to the rest of the quotes, just quickly here, Purdue's gonna have a gaping hole at the 4 spot next year. I don't know. How do you feel about the matchup or the what the relationship would be like between a guy like Painter and Cam Williams?
Dion, you okay? You look a little sweaty.
So every August, September, my air conditioning breaks, and there's just nothing I can do about it.
Dude, that's tough. Out in California too? Like, I mean, what is it, like 80 degrees still there today?
Today's gonna be like 85, 90, but like peak summer, it gets like 110. My AC just doesn't ever hold up.
I mean, it sounds like it's a bummer that you can't take advantage of Duncan Mechanical Solutions because Duncan Mechanical Solutions is an HVAC company based in Angola, servicing the tri-state area, bringing commercial quality to the residential world with excellent customer service. You heard us talk about Duncan Mechanical last summer. If you need heating or air conditioning, kitchen or bath remodeling, or all of the above, Duncan Mechanical is the place to go in the Midwest. Go to DuncanMechanicalSolutions.com to take advantage and make sure you don't wind up like Dion.
So I think if you read that, this same article we're referencing from Bossy, it's not behind a paywall. Anybody can read it on 24/7 Sports. He talks a lot about his approach with his parents keep him humble. He's always kept his head down, stay low and build, if you will. Shout out,
Mm.
to where that seems like
Shout out to the brand.
shout out to us. I didn't know where I was going when I said shout out, but yeah, shout out to us, shout out to you, shout out to G, shout out to Dion. Um, but to me, that's the type of player who I think would mesh well with Painter. And when you look at like the steps that Purdue went to acquire talent this offseason, whether it was Clough or whether it was Omer Meyer, it seems like there's some sort of shift in Painter where it's like, oh, he's not afraid to use the portal. He's not afraid to presumably shell out some dough for an international kid. That to me is like, man, Painter's had success with every type of player. Why not spend a little bit to go get this one and done talent who you know you'll be able to integrate into a veteran laden roster? Like, to me, the pitch here for Painter has to be very clear. You'd pretty much just point to how many guys you put into the league that you've succeeded with guys who were completely unheralded coming in, like Zach Edey, who's making all NBA rookie teams. You've had guys drafted after being multi-year guys like Carson Edwards. I mean, has he had a one and done in recent years? Like that's the one thing where I'm like,
Yeah,
there's a spot that's open for you, but look at my record the past 5 years. I don't lose non-conference games. I
facts.
win this league every year that Jace Richardson's not there. Like, if you want to win and you want to get to the next level and you want as many touches as you can have because there's this huge opening left by a guy who averaged 20 this past year, it's yours. Like, maybe I should have included Purdue in that initial group when I said Arizona and Duke because I'm like, that would be a really good fit for him.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fair for you to approach it like that though, because I feel like there has been some momentum lost with the Purdue and Cam Williams situation, where
Mhm.
it kind of has been like a Duke Arizona situation. But I think that his recruitment has a ways to go. He doesn't know like when he's going to commit or anything like that. But just so I get the other schools in here, SMU gets a shout out. The Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley, guys like that. They had the assistant coach Eric Mobley on the staff. Andy Enfield, SMU have a lot of bucks also that they could fund into this. Do you think SMU is a real contender in this one?
I don't cart, but it's
You know
fun to
what?
envision.
I feel the same way. Let's keep on moving on here. The Texas one was the most interesting one to me, and I do want to get your thoughts on that. He said Coach Miller was straight up. He said he wanted to make me the number one priority, and my parents really loved that. My whole family loved that. It's just a really good experience. It's kind of similar to SMU, where he's coached guys like me, Laurie Markkinen, Zeke Nnaji, Aaron Gordon, guys of my caliber, and he's just saying that I get there, I'm going to develop. Miller, and listen, I'm not a Sean Miller guy, so I, I
Mhm.
I do feel weird commenting on this, but Miller does have a background of getting guys there.
Texas would be like my if you're a Duke fan, it would be like don't count out the Longhorns for this one. Those quotes I think are a little illuminating and just seeing like with Miller's track record where he was out of coaching for a year, then he was sort of, had that good, I think it was his first year at Xavier, but been pretty mediocre the past 2 years. We kind of forget that he gets guys. Like
Yeah.
that the list of pros that he has is pretty impressive. And I mean, of those three that he mentioned, I don't think he plays all that similarly to any of them. Maybe Larry Markkinen, but
Mm.
I don't really see. I mean, to me, Gordon was just such a freak athlete, even if you point to like Gordon as a skilled, versatile big who can handle a little bit. But I think Williams at his best projects to be more offensively minded, I would say. But still, like that burn orange is enticing, as you and I learn year after year. It does something to your mind when you see it, where you think this program hasn't been great, but it could get there. And that to me is like combining that with his quotes, the way he feels prioritized. Yeah, if you're into reading tea leaves, to me, I'm like, maybe the Longhorns are a bit more of a threat than we would have initially envisioned.
Yeah, I think that if I was doing like a ranking of how the schools were spoken about, actually, Texas Tech or Texas Tech, sorry. Shout out to Grant McCaslin. Texas is the one that stuck out the most to me. I think it touched on the parents, it touched on the number one priority, which I do think means a lot to Cam Williams, by the way. Like, I don't think you bring that up in case unless you are like, yeah, I want to be the number one priority. And he is going to be that for Texas, I think. And Texas already got Bo Ogden, really nice player in the class. They could get themselves a really good class there. I think it'd be nice. And then, don't want to let that out, but also leave out USC, but also Eric Musselman and Earl Boykins got a shout out in this one as well. And I also feel like USC, no matter what, Muss is gonna like sneak his way into these elite recruitments. Like he's even in for Tyron Stokes. Like I feel like the allure of USC, Hollywood, LA is always gonna play a factor here. But I want to end this with a call on your shot. I know you said in regards to your own personal being that you want him at Duke for mine, Bryson Howard. But do you still stand strong? You think Duke is the team to beat here?
I think so. They're going to get at least one of these top five guys, probably two. Just if they when they get serious about a player, Shire usually pulls it off. So yeah.
Yeah, the Brotherhood is still very strong. I think it's going to be Duke too, but some of these quotes do got me thinking to pay attention to some other schools. But when he does have a decision date or any other updates, we will be sure to have those on these channel. Like I said, everyone go check out that article by Eric Bossy, one of the best in the business over at 24/7 Sports.